Hello, this is Mrs. McCullough again. Today's lesson is the first lesson in a new set of skills. Today's lesson is all about how readers make inferences. Say that word with me. Inferences. Yes, readers make inferences. And they have to use those two voices that we've been talking about. They have to use the reading voice and the thinking voice at the same time. That's what readers do. Now, I'll show you how to make an inference. But first, I want to do a little math with you, okay? So when we are thinking about those voices, we have to use that reading voice, the one that tells us what the text says. So it reads the words, it looks at the pictures in the photos, it might look at the text features in a chart or a map, and we start to have some thoughts, okay? So reading voice plus thinking voice, we put those together, then we have a bigger thought, something that wasn't directly stated in the text, and that is called an inference. You see, you're reading all the details that the author gave you or looking at them in the picture, but your inference goes a little bit further into what is happening, why it's happening, things like that, okay? So the author will give you details. Some people call them clues. And when we think about them being clues, then that makes me think of the magnifying glass. And I like to use the magnifying glass to really help me zoom in on specific details in the text. What's important about the magnifying glass is this part, the whole. Because rather than looking at the whole text, the whole page, the whole photo, it helps me just zoom in on some small detail. Because I need those details to put them together to engage the thinking voice and have the bigger thought. So let me show you what I mean. Remember yesterday or last time you had a lesson and we talked about this photo, okay? In this photo, then we said, okay, there's a boy on a horse. That's just looking at it real fast with our reading voice. But we need to be able to zoom in on some of those details. So remember, we were looking closely at things like there's some rainbow spots here, and the mane was all colored like a rainbow mane. We also saw the rainbow tail in the back. And then when we zoom in on this detail, oh my goodness, there's a horn. So when we put these together, clue plus clue plus clue plus clue, those are the details I'm talking about. And when we think rainbow spots, rainbow mane, tail, and a horn, you know what our thinking voice said to us? I'm thinking that's a unicorn. Yeah, that's what we were doing. We were putting details together. So I've got details like we had the rainbow spots, and details because we had the rainbow mane and tail, and detail because we had the horn. And when we put all of those things together, then we said, I'm thinking this is a unicorn. This is a unicorn, yeah. But we didn't stop there. That's just one little thinking voice thought. You see, when you have an inference, you look at a lot more details and you try to see if you can find any more patterns. So when we started zooming in on the person here, we noticed his little legs, they don't even go into the stirrups. So he's kind of short, his little arms and his face. And so when we look at those details, then we thought, he's probably about 4, 5, or 6 years old. Maybe he's a kindergartner, right? And then we zoomed in and we saw that he was wearing a crown. He's wearing a crown. And so then we started putting those details together. So a little kindergartner who's wearing a crown, maybe it's a special day for him. And so now when we put a lot of these details together, the spots that turn him into the unicorn with the horn, the little boy wearing the crown, then we have the thought, oh, it's probably a celebration. It's probably his birthday celebration or another really important day for this little boy. They're celebrating him with a special horse that's been turned into a unicorn, and he's getting a ride pulled by somebody else because he really can't ride the horse, and he's wearing that special crown. Okay, so that is the new idea. His special day on a special occasion. That's the new idea. That's an inference. Detail plus thinking voice, using them together at the same time. That's what readers do when they make an inference. Okay, I want to try this out with you. And I have another picture that I want us to look at. And I know you don't have a magnifying glass probably at your house right now, but did you know you could make one? You can make one by putting your hand up like this. So put your arm up and close your fingers to your thumb. Now, not super tight because you want to be able to see through it, okay? You want to be able to see through the hole. But we're going to use the magnifying glass to help us zoom in on some of the details on the screen, okay? So I'm going to do this with you, and I'll tell you where we're zooming in because I'll use the little hand here, okay, to show you where we're zooming in. And when I go there with the hand, I want you to put your hand magnifying glass up, and I want you to look at just those specific details, not the whole picture right now, just the specific details, okay? All right, so let's zoom in and let's look at the chocolate fountain. Oh my goodness. Chocolate fountain. Now let's zoom down here. What are they putting in this chocolate fountain? Maybe some cookies, some marshmallows. Are you moving your hand? Move your hand so you can see those details. Notice how there's some sort of fruit here, like a banana or maybe a set of strawberries, something like that. And so now let's zoom up and let's look at the people in the photo. And so if we zoom up, then we notice, well, there's a girl and a boy, and look at their clothing. The girl looks like she's wearing some white shirt, all kind of gathered together, a little fancy, isn't it? And notice how the boy down here, zoom in with your hand, down here, the boy, he's wearing a button up and down shirt, a real nice dress shirt. And if you zoom in, is that a tie? Can you see that? Zoom in closely with your hand. Some sort of maybe pink tie and a pink button up and down shirt. So let's go over to the next person. So another girl, and she's also wearing maybe some sort of dress, you think, and it's pink, and she's got her hair all pulled back. Look at that. And she's got those fancy spirals down by her face. Oh my goodness. So these kids, they look like they're really dressed up, don't you think? Oh, there's one more. Zoom in with your hand, your magnifying glass hand. You see this girl? And so there's another girl. Her hair looks like it's all pulled back in a bun, all fancy like that. And then the flowers. You know, she even has pink flowers in her hair. So I'm thinking that if we have all of these details together, chocolate fountain, marshmallows, fruit on a dessert table, and then we've got kids who are helping themselves, and they look like they're very dressed up. This is a very special occasion, don't you think? Kids don't normally dress like that or have their hair all done up like that. And so this must be a special occasion where there's a dessert table. Well, there's more in the photo. So get your magnifying glass out and let's zoom in. Notice the people in the background. I think this is probably a grown-up. Notice how this person's taller and wearing a suit jacket. Yeah, grown-ups wear those during very, very special events. And so we've got the pink button up and down shirt, pink tie, a lot like the boy down here. And let's look in the background. There are a couple other men in the background also in pink shirts and a pink tie. There's a lot of pink. Let's zoom over here underneath the chocolate fountain. See the reflection? See how we can see what's on the table in the reflection? There's pink, there's some lavender. And so clue plus clue plus clue. When we put these details together, then I'm thinking, you know, this may be more than just your average special occasion. Because if there is a dessert table where everyone helps themselves and Everyone's dressed up, including the kids, looking very fancy. And notice how everything is kind of pink. When there's a color theme kind of running through the special occasion, then it's usually something pretty fancy, like a wedding. You think? Yeah. Okay. So detail, chocolate fountain, fruit, kids dressed up, special occasion, all with the same color. I'm thinking this is a wedding. That's an inference. It's a new idea. Nowhere in this photo does it say wedding. Shoot, it doesn't even show us the bride and the groom. But I bet you're right. I bet it's in a wedding. And so, guys, that's what readers do. They look at a lot of details. They put them together, looking for patterns and relationships. When this clue goes with this clue, then it means this, and poof, they have the new idea. So today and every day, you can do that type of thinking when you're reading text. Now, if you were in Mrs. McCullough's class, what I would have you do is I would have you make your own magnifying glass. Yeah, make it. You see, I have put it in this document and it's attached to the lesson so that you could print this out if you wanted to. But you know what? You don't have to print it out. You could actually just hold up a blank piece of paper to the last slide on, or the last image on our video, okay? This will be the very last image that I'll put up. And you could put a blank piece of paper up to it and you could trace around it. And you could cut your own out. So watch. Now, get a pair of scissors, ask an adult, okay? My scissors are very fancy scissors, but maybe you just have school scissors. And cut out around the magnifying glass so that you can hold it in your hand. But more than that, I want to show you the trick. I want to show you how you cut out the hole. There's a trick to it. Watch me. You're going to kind of fold it in half just a little bit, but don't crease it. Just fold it in half just a little bit. And with the tip of your scissors, just give a little cut. Or maybe you got to go in a little bit, okay? Just a little cut. This is how I always tell kids in my class to cut out something in the middle. Don't go chopping at the side. You'll mess up your magnifying glass. But to get to the middle, you got to fold it, make a little hole. Then when you open it up, stick your scissors in the hole. And then you can start cutting. See how I'm doing that? And then I'll go around. Or you can ask an adult to help you if you're afraid to mess it up. Okay, but I'm going to go all the way around. And that's how I'm going to end up with my hole. Okay, so now, what's the assignment? Well, you could actually do this with any kind of photograph that you come into contact with. But there's a document that goes with this lesson. And if you go past our wedding picture, then you'll find there are a few more photos. And what I want you to do is either with your paper magnifying glass or your hand, I want you to zoom in on the details. A lot of different details, things in the background, things in the front, not just the people, but what they're wearing, what they're holding. And I want you to put clue plus clue plus clue together. And I want you to start thinking, when this goes together, then it means, and poof, what's your new idea? I've got 3 different photos for you. And I would think that you could pick 2 of them. Just pick 2 and that would be enough. If you're having fun with it, do all 3. But some may be harder than others and you may be stumped. So pick 2 of your favorites and use your hand magnifying glass or your paper magnifying glass to put details together, have thoughts, and then a new idea. And that is an inference. Readers make inferences. That's what I would have you do if you were in my class, but your teacher might have an even better idea to help you make inferences.